It's the radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince. Welcome to another episode of The Mike Prince Show. It is our mission to try to bring you some news that you could use. Today is no exception to that rule. You can follow me on Twitter at The Mike Prince Show. The YouTube channel is the Open Mic Broadcast Network. Our website is obnradio.com. Just in case you have one of those smart devices, all you have to do is say, hey, play the latest episode of The Mike Prince Show. And just like that, you'll have everything that you need. And with all that being said, let us now jump into today's episode. I want to remind you that May 1st will be the 29th annual golf tournament for the Panther backers. They have been in support of Prairie View Athletics since 1995. They are going to have one big event for May 1st. If you want to register a team, sponsor a hole, all you need to do is get in contact with Dino Robertson, 713-417-2090. And man, it will be one heck of an event. When you support the Panther backers, you'll also be supporting Prairie View Athletics. Speaking of Prairie View Athletics, baseball had to make a day trip, if you would, to Baton Rouge, Louisiana to take on the Southern Jags due to the fact they could not get the game in over the course of this past weekend. We did have some rain, and the tarp was on the field from sources we've reached out to. However, it was not enough to prevent the game to be played. So therefore, you had to cancel the games being played on the campus of Prairie View and flip them back around to Baton Rouge. Now, in times past, when you had weather of an issue, you would just flip-flop games. The teams would just reverse who was home and then who was away. But not in this case, due to the fact that Southern had already made the trip to Prairie View. And when we talk about budgets and everything, it is what it is. So as a result, Prairie View had to flip back to Baton Rouge on Tuesday. And when they play again in May, they'll go back to Baton Rouge in May for the regular scheduled home game for the Southern Jags. As a result, Panthers end up losing the doubleheader on yesterday, both sets losing 5-4 and 4-3. So now the Panthers fall to 7-4 in the Western Division of the Southwestern Athletic Conference, while the Southern Jags are now at 7-4. So this thing is getting very, very mixed up as we speak right now. So the Panthers will have their next series against the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. If you recall, they were able to sweep Pine Bluff here at home, so they'll have to try to continue that again to come out looking, good in the thicket of things. They could end up possibly being 10-4 at the conclusion of that series. Meanwhile, on the softball side of things, the Panthers will be taking on Incarnate Word. Now, the Panthers are the hottest thing within the Southwestern Athletic Conference right now. They're 15-0 in conference play, and we'll see how they measure up against the Southland opponent today. And this is always going to be a good measuring stick. We always have spoken on how we do outside of the conference. We know that we handle each other quite well and very competitive, but the marks and the strides can really be made on how we perform outside the conference. So we'll be looking to see how the Panthers do against Incarnate Word later today. Spring football rolling right along. Got some other games that are scheduled up. In fact, Texas Southern's maroon and gray game will be this coming weekend. And so we'll keep a pulse on that to see how things are going. Speaking again of Texas Southern, congratulations again to the cheerleading program. National champions. Man, Must be a new millennial. It's a good thing. See that the Tigers, representing the Southwestern Athletic Conference, standing tall and looking good. Now, we normally do not, focus on Big 12, Pac-12, Power 5 things because they have enough coverage on their own. But there were some things that had taken place that made my antennas rise just a little bit. And I want to kind of go into that with you right quickly if we could. We know that the Pac-12 is in the middle of their media negotiation rights, and everybody is, kind of panicking, pulling hairs out of what's going to be the next move. And there have been numerous potential partners, the Apple TV, the Amazon streaming. And the one that everybody was laughing at was CW. And, be very, very careful of what you're laughing at. Yes, CW is not known for its sporting accolades, but time brings about a change in everything. Now, when you look at it in comparison to what could be, let's not focus on the right now, because if you look at the right now, the CW is the 25th ranked network in the nation, which is last. Okay, that's a fact. However, the reach that the CW has is every home in America. Over 330 million people they have access to. Now, part of the challenge that the CW has at this particular moment as we speak is their target audience. Their target audience right now are females between the ages of 18 and 34, which shows in their programming. Well, with the Live Golf paying for time on the CW, because that was available, no one wanted to play ball with Live Golf. That's a whole nother subject that we won't touch right now. We just laying out some facts. The Live Golf tournament had their debut in February, and they were ranked 51 out of 58 sporting events that aired that weekend. And as expected, that is a low man on the totem. But if you look at the big picture, with the CW trying to get involved with college sports in the case of the Pac-12, which the latest come out saying that there is no chance of that happening, but they've got the ball in motion. If it's not the Pac-12, there is some conference that would be willing to do business with the CW because of the word that everyone is talking about, exposure. There are some things that are happening behind the scene that will have you keep an eye out on the CW. The CW was recently acquired by Nexstar. Nexstar is a Texas-based media group out of Dallas, Texas area. And here is what I looked at, a very interesting twist. Warner Brothers paid Nexstar $54 million to take over the CW brand. Think about that now. They were paid $54 million to take over the brand, which in case was 21 stations. Nexstar already had 29 stations, and they had access to 32% of the homes in the United States, which roughly comes out to 105 million people. With the addition of this acquirement from Warner Brothers. Nexstar now is in prime position. What Nexstar has to do right now is make sure they don't overpay for the Pac-12 product, which is part of the delayed in an agreement being announced. But as they indicated, right now the Pac-12 is not budging. But let me raise an eyebrow yet again. Nexstar, in my opinion, could be a perfect match for the next Southwestern Athletic Conference media deal. It would give you the reach of every home in America. We've talked about the exposure. They do have an app. You don't need a special subscription. If you don't have it on your existing cable network, you can simply spend $50 on an open air antenna and have the CW programming at your fingertips. Something to look out for. I just want to remind folks how they're laughing at the CW right now. Remember this little network that everybody was laughing at until they landed a deal with the NFL? Oh, you mean those guys you call Fox? To be continued. I am the radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince. Thank you guys so much for joining in with us. Do follow me on Twitter at The Mike Prince Show. Subscribe to the YouTube channel today at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. I've got to go. My time is far spent. But until the next time, you guys be blessed. We'll see you on the other side.